Good morning, everyone. Namaste. We are going to be reading today on my setting boundaries to find peace with narcissist and codependence. We're still on chapter 2, narcissism, codependency dynamics. And we're moving on to can a person be both a codependent and a narcissist? Says, since we've already established that narcissism and codependency have common roots, meaning that they both had very traumatic childhood, where they had more than likely a parent in their home or someone close to their family that often would go into a rage to where that narcissism was formed, as well as the codependency also was formed, the people-pleasing aspect of it. So it says, since we've already established that narcissism and codependency have common roots, they both depend on others for validation. It is not far-fetched to wonder if narcissists can be codependents, or if codependents have a narcissistic personality, or at the very least, narcissistic traits too. In life, I think you'll find that things are hardly ever clearly delineate in black and white. Most of the time there are so many shades of gray that you can find yourself getting lost amidst the grays. Well, I'll even go even further than that. I think to some degree everybody has a little bit of narcissism in them. I don't think that anyone on the planet doesn't have a little bit of narcissism. I think you have to have a little bit of narcissism in order to have a healthy ego, as well as I feel like to some degree we all have a little bit of codependency. Now, what they're talking about is more extremes. The one thing that narcs and codependents often have in common is having experienced some sort of abuse or trauma while growing up. Of course, having parents with narcissistic personality disorder or were codependents themselves also play a huge role. And often it's like the mother's the codependent or the narcissist, and then the father's codependent or the narcissist. So that's, in general, a lot of what I've seen. Especially because I was a child forensic interviewer and I used to interview children for types of abuse. And that is generally what I would see in the family line as well. Some might say they're two sides of the coin, but sometimes the boundaries between the two conditions can get blurred and find traits from one condition in the other. It is not surprising to find that a relationship between a narc and a codependent person, the narcissist may try to manipulate the codependent partner into thinking that they're a narcissist themselves just to control them. I haven't had that experience with the narcissists I have had. They might portray you to other people like that to try and keep, more than likely they're going to try and deem you as crazy to other people. That way they can kind of get away with doing things to you and they don't look like the villain. Because narcissists always wear a mask. So the only people that get to see the unmasked version of the narcissist are the people that can see through, like the empaths, who can detect energy, or people that have actually seen them do it, which is more than likely only the codependents, the people that don't stand up for themselves. Because the people that do stand up for themselves, the narcissist wouldn't want to show them that, because that person's going to out the narcissist, and narcissists never want to be outed by other people. A young lady I worked for, Kaylee, once told me that she knew she was definitely a codependent. In a stunning burst of insight, she admitted that she had had some narcissistic tendencies which came into play often. And again, I haven't really seen that aspect of it either. Normally a codependent is somebody who doesn't have a voice. They generally are a very weak person and very easily manipulated and easy to be picked on, and often talked down to very easily because they're not going to defend and stand up for themselves. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I haven't seen it in the codependents that I know. The codependents that I know don't have a voice at all. She's saying that she knowingly manipulates people to stay with me, even though it made it look like I was vulnerable. That's weird. Every time I went above and beyond to take care of them, I deliberately made sure they would stay with me. It was a form of control for me, and I had got high off the fact that I would really make them do whatever I wanted. And again, I'm not saying that don't exist, but I've never seen that aspect of it. It says, it is entirely possible for a narcissist to have codependent traits, but this does not mean they suddenly become nicer. Nope, this simply means that they're more consumed with being admired, respected, or feared. If you have having a hard time to decide whether someone you know is a codependent or a narcissist, this is a likelihood that they're either codependent with narcissistic traits or narcissistic that also codependent. And again, this is not my experience. I have a master's in psychology and a bachelor's in psychology. I haven't seen that. I'm not, again, if it exists, it exists. I really feel like this book likes to really treat the codependents as they're the villains as well. I understand to some degree the aspect of what they're trying to say, that the codependent people pleases, so that is a form of manipulation. So they people please to keep them safe. But in general, for me, the narcissist, and I, again, was a codependent, the narcissist generally would really villainize and really have all the control. I had no control in the relationships. And I was in survival mode for 8 years when I was in that relationship. And I've had tons of different relationships with codependents. That was just one where I was actually in a relationship with. The others were best friends, bosses, co-workers. And again, the narcissist always had very dominating personality, not just with me, with everyone, but they were very jovial and likable to the rest of the people, and then only showed that darkness to me as the codependent. That's what I've seen throughout my life. But, you know, hey, to each its own. So I hope this helps. I love you all. Have a blessed day, and namaste.